Hi, I'm Paul Rivera, and today we're going to talk about this Yamaha Series 2 amplifier that I was part of the development program on, starting in 1976. So in '76, Roger Balmer, who was in charge of creating great amps, great guitars, and great keyboards for Yamaha, he was based out of Buena Park, had asked me to come on board and consult along with a whole lot of studio musicians from Hollywood, such as Jay Graydon and Dean Parks and so on, as part of this development process to create a great sounding amplifier. Yamaha was never known for being a serious player in guitar amps, and they had some very unusual guitar amps, including ones with giant styrofoam speakers that you could stick pencils in. That was their claim to fame, and it still would work. So what we did was we took some ideas, put them on a piece of paper, created a dream project for this amplifier. I actually created a proposal that I submitted to Yamaha with a lot of interesting features, as well as there was a talk about the different tones, the different power amp sections, power supply, reverb, you name it. I addressed it in this proposal for Yamaha, and so we started the process. The engineering for this was primarily done by Mike Kachihata, working out of Light Musical for LM from Yamaha, Nippon Gaki in Japan, and Harry Suzuki oversaw that department as well as his development work from Mike Kachihata. So I worked together with them, and so in the proposal was a lot of features that made it to this amplifiers and some of them that did not. But this is a channel switching amplifier. This is called the G100 212 Mark II. It's 100 watt. There was a single 12 version, a 410 version, and the 212 version. And so there were some unique things about this amplifier. One of them was a current feedback power amplifier, which was kind of unique in solid state amps at the time, that allows the output stage to follow the impedance curve of the speaker and work with the reactive qualities of the speaker to shape the EQ and the tone of the power amplifier. This particular one has a parametric EQ that's post-distortion. So it's the final EQ in the amplifier after you get the gain and distortion in the preamp. You can have, it's almost like a graphic equalizer, except utilizing a parametric to shape that final sound coming out of the preamplifier stage before it gets into the power amp. It has a unique reverb circuit that has similar to like a Fender tube reverb driver in terms of its character and how it interfaces with the reverb pan. And it has a monster headroom clean channel, and because it's channel switching, it allows you to go between a distortion sound and the clean sound. So Mike Kachihata and the vendors for Yamaha inside Japan worked closely to get the sound of a classic Jensen or Oxford 10-inch speaker and 12-inch speakers. The speakers that we were emulating were the ones that were the classic sounds of the Fender amplifiers from the 60s. And so they used that to model these speakers that came with the Yamahas, whether it was single 12 or 212 or 210 or any of the different versions of this, 50 watt or 100 watt. So some of the features from the modifications I did is the pull fat. Again, that pull fat switch was a result of the work with Jay Graydon with a 6-position fat switch, but we put it as a pull switch on the front panel so that you were able to add some body to the top end of the strings of the tone. Also, the way that the tone controls interact, they're passive controls, but they feel very good, you know, in terms of their audio response, the way that we tuned the different frequencies. Parametric EQ was really ahead of its time, and especially in terms of a guitar amplifier, where recording engineers knew how to use a parametric, but parametrics had never shown up on a guitar amplifier before. What it allowed you to do is to actually tune into a particular frequency, change the Q, which is the bandwidth, and be able to actually bring it up or bring it down. And there's a center detent in this control. So for example, let's say you had a Les Paul with a really fat pickup and it was too muddy on the bottom end and you wanted to tighten up the bottom end. You could go and increase or decrease the level, choose the frequency, and then register the different amounts of bandwidth or Q to be able to just reduce down that frequency without affecting any of the adjacent frequencies. So, as some guitars, for instance, the Telecaster will have a lot of fret noise. To reduce the amount of fret noise on a Telecaster, there are actually some frequencies that you can pull out on the high end, and it will enable it to not sound so fretted, so to speak. So it really was a pretty advanced feature. I'm Paul Rivera. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and there will be a lot more videos coming.